Hey YouTube, and I don't think I even need an intro for this one. Sword speaks for itself. Alright, now what you're looking at is a full-scale replica of the Kubikiribocho from Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. I just got the hilt done today. As you can see, it slides right on over the handle basin. Handle's actually right here, haven't cut it to length yet. It does fit into the end, very nice. I'll go over some of the minor details later. Covering a few questions right now. This discoloration, actually that's not far off. This discoloration that you're seeing at the seam lines is actually body fill putty, and I'm actually going to be mixing some up and putting it on the sword on camera a little bit later, so you can see that. As I showed before, the hilt just comes off. It was printed in all one piece, thanks to my giant maker farm back there. I have one spine that comes down to the ring, and then I have this nice big metal spine in here, which is where the handle is going to go. I can't find the hole. Every check that's told me that. Wow. I'm just not good at this. Aha! Hilt. Now. Let's get started. Now, before we get too far, I want to show you some of the tools I use to do what I've done so far. Simple knife helps a lot for anything you can pretty much imagine. X-Acto blade gets everything the knife can't. These Harbor Freight clamps, I can't even tell you how many times and ways I've used those. Used them to hold the panels down and together when I was gluing. Pretty much anything you can think of, I use those for. And then a simple pair of two-stage pliers has been immensely helpful for all the little shit that I didn't think of when I was actually designing it. That was the initial construction. Oh, and I used Gorilla Glue Clear. The stuff actually expands, but if you have enough clamps, it expands into like all the crevices between the two parts, and it makes a really strong hold. After that, oopsies. After that, I've used this basically putty scraper. I'll show you that in a little bit. But I've done all my file work and sandpaper work to prep all the surfaces for putty, even though it really doesn't look like it. You just take your pad, scuff it up to the point where it feels a little rough, and then your putty goes on. Sticks really good. You can't even peel the shit off. Why it's such a pain in the ass to sand. And that's pretty much all the tools. Now the layout actually got changed after about 6 prints, because I got these two done, and then this one, and there was such a gap. I don't know why the printer didn't like handle the size of the print itself, but there's actually a gap from here to here. You can't really see that well, but it's a good 1/4 inch gap where there's nothing, and that's why there's such a body fill line. That's there, and it's even worse here because it affected these parts. So after that, I had to do some reworking on the printer and resizing everything, and after that, everything started working very nice. And as you can see on the back, the seams are not nearly as bad except for these two, and that's entirely my fault because I forgot to undersize the lip on these two. Pretty much ready for putty then. We're actually going to be puttying up this section because there's a layer that delaminated, and I'm going to try and smooth that flat again so it's not such a difference between this part, and this part. Now, I'm in no way a Bondo master. In fact, if you ask my old instructor, Andy, I hated Bondo so much in college that I would spend hours sanding just to make sure I wouldn't have to use that much Bondo. Today I know better. Bondo is a wondrous tool when used correctly. Now, I just used this last night to do this patching work, so I don't have to stir it right now, but you should always stir it in amount. At least the stuff you're going to be using before you use it. This separates out a little bit and moisture can kind of get to it. You put your putty down first. Do a little bit more than that. Alright, that should be good. Clean the extra goop off the jar, because honestly it gets real shitty when it gets in the lid. Put your lid back on right away, because these fumes are fucking obnoxious. And you don't have to do this step, but I'm going to, because I'm going to be handling my camera. I'm going to get these gloves on, because once you mix the hardener in with it, it sticks to everything, including skin, and it's a super pain in the ass to get off. So now you get to see me uncomfortably put on these barely correct fit gloves. You do not need gloves, but I like using them for several reasons. One, keeps your hands clean. Two, with these gloves, these just standard gloves, get them at like CVS or Shopko. They can actually still feel everything through them. So you can still do your quality handwork, yuck, 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 with them on. And there's an added benefit I will be showing you later. Make sure you squeeze all the air out, because it gets super annoying if you don't. Okay. Gloves on. See how much time I have. Plenty. Alright. So we have our goop. So this is your first base. This is your standard Bondo. This is your cream hardener. If you're following along with me, it is 100% important to realize you don't need a lot of this. In fact, you're going to see me put what you think is way too little, if I can get it to come out at all. And actually, I used too much. So I'm going to have to work pretty quick with this. Mix it all together. Make sure you get a very good mix. It should turn to about this color. Oh, this is going to be really quick setting. So I better get a fucking move on. Okay. I'm just going to try and smooth it out in amount with the stick. Popsicle sticks are free. Always remember that. Because in a minute you're going to see me do something that might shock you. This was way too much. Now the one thing to remember when you are wearing gloves is you can get stuff on the ends of them and not realize it, and then drag it elsewhere, which is also super not good. Except for this project, it doesn't really matter. Now if you've ever done plasterwork, it's pretty much the same concept. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this out this way. See where it caught on that lip? That is what the height I'm going to try and match to. And this is already drying super fast, so I probably should move even quicker. Now it's okay to leave some extra, like here, because I got to sand that to be flush anyway. But you just want to keep smoothing it in a thin layer. Thinner it is, quicker it dries. And as you see, all these little bubbles in here where I'm not having any putty slowly disappear. Edges are usually pretty hard to do, simply because you get an edge on edges, get it? And it actually prevents your pull pad from putting Bondo down where you want it, so you end up having to kind of compromise a little bit. This is where gloves are nice. Oh, that is already getting hard. Okay. You're going to notice these little skims in here. That's just because it's getting hard. It's not ideal, and you want to avoid it when you can, but oh well. And as you can see, since I have to do large portions of the rest of this sword anyway, I'm just getting a nice skim layer down. You can actually do this instead of rough sanding if you have like a thin wall on a print that you know is going to be a problem. Just do a real super thin layer of goop on it. As you can see, I'm starting to get some stuff on this from my handle. Not a bad thing though. Really gotta... Okay, and we're going to let that dry. And while you let it dry, go ahead and try and get the rest of this off while you can, because it actually becomes a total pain in the ass. And my glove's ripped. So when I do this, thumb's still covered. But the rest of my hand's clean, so I just got to be a little more careful next time. This actually comes off pretty easy if you get to it quick enough. Or if you are patient enough to let it harden completely, which takes 20 to 40 minutes on average. And I never do, so I'm just going to deal with having a little bit of a sticky thumb for a while. Alright guys and girls, that was the video. Hope you liked it. I know I didn't like making it because I hate making videos, but I love making the shit that I put in my videos. So that's how we're going to handle this. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you dislike it. I don't know what I'm pointing at. Subscribe. I think it's down there. Maybe. Click subscribe if you like the video. Actually, I think it's down here. Click subscribe if you like the video. I don't really have a lot of subscribers right now, even though I have some videos with like 15,000 views, so I don't know how that works out, but yeah, if you liked it, subscribe. I got a lot more like this. I actually have the videos of me designing most of this sword and the initial assembly of like the front end of it. I took a break from filming to do the rest of it because I wanted to focus on it and make sure that I did it right. You know, other than that, I think we're pretty much good here. Enjoy some video of me dancing or whatever extra film I have on this camera from the hundreds of outtakes from every video that I've ever made. Have a nice day.